in store tonight. Louis, there's an echo. I'm going to go through roll call real quick. I know we have some members not here yet, but Grace?
Here.
John?
Here.
Shirley?
Here.
Okay, and then I'm missing a few members. So right now we're going to skip over reviewing our minutes. And I'm actually going to have Dr. Mike go first, and then we're going to move back to the Fair Student Funding presentation.
Sounds good. Okay, good evening, everyone. Just get myself situated. It's my report. Pleasure to be here with all of you this evening. I'd like to welcome all of our parents, and we have some students here that are going to be recognized, some that are going to deliver their soapbox speeches for us to learn from them about. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why we have them here tonight. We'll also do some updates and reminders. The children that are going to be recognized tonight are also for our Respect for All contest winners. There was an essay contest, poster contest, multimedia contest, and we're going to share out our award winners tonight and just congratulate them in a public space. Talk to you a little bit about Project Soapbox last session, but I also want to have an opportunity for our kids to share a little bit about what they deem as passionate for themselves and the call to action that they have for the adults that are in this room and for any of those that are in earshot to hear them. Also going to talk to you a little bit about Wellness Day and the work that we've started to do and that I'm really excited to share with our community. So just some updates and reminders. In January, we had Martin Luther King Day, really important opportunity for our students and our community to reflect on just the importance of promoting kindness and respect across all of our schools within the context of Dr. King's message. So many of our schools engage in work aligned to this message, including our pre-K centers, engaged in the development of kindness leaves. Text was sent home and shared with families so they can participate with their children. So we thank our pre-K centers for engaging in this type of work. We also had essay contests from school to school that were participating in this work. This is an image from Bell Academy and the work that they had engaged to advocate for equality across our area and beyond. Thank you to Councilmember Ung. Had an opportunity to go to PS 214. There was an allocation of $480,000 that was provided to the school through ResOA for auditorium, tech, and bathroom upgrades. So we appreciate Councilmember Ung for always being so supportive of our schools, and we're looking forward to seeing that work, those dollars to be put into good use moving forward. So always thanking Councilmember Ung for her support. A couple of weeks ago, we had District 25 Math Family Night. Big shout out to Beth Eaton from our district team who helped organize a really amazing evening. Thank you to Principal Hewlett, and we had at least 20 to 25 staff members from not only the school but across the district that volunteered their time to make this event really an exciting one for the community at PS 129, but also for our families that managed to join from outside of that school community. So all kinds of different math games, math tools were shared. Snacks and pizza were also provided. So it was a really nice event, and I'm hoping that more of our families are able to join during future ones. So thank you, big thanks to them. I'd like to thank Ms. Willens, who's here tonight. She not only supports our civics work, which we're going to hear about in a few minutes, but she also continues to run the spelling bee here in District 25. And I want a big shout out and congratulations to David from PS 130, Divine Grace from IS 250, and Jason from 185. Who will be moving on to the citywide spelling bee in March. We're so proud of their efforts, and we're rooting them on as they move to the next round of the spelling bee here in the city. Happy Lunar New Year and the Year of the Snake. Big shout out to all of our schools and our school community as they celebrated Lunar New Year. I know some celebrations are still ongoing, and continue to encourage our schools to participate and share the various cultures in our schools. on a regular basis to promote awareness and appreciation. Part of that was a shout out to PS 244 for joining Councilmember Ung and the community members in the Flushing Lunar New Year Parade. So our students got to participate, and you can even see Mr. Met in the background too, having a little bit of fun. So you're going to kind of see this theme around civics type of work. PS 164 went and engaged Borough President Donovan Richards with a request for Resaway funding. So all of the students that you see in that space are part of the school's student government. Presidents from each of the grade levels participated in the outreach to make some requests of the council, of the borough president, for additional funding for their school to support upgrades in a range of things. So really important that not only we use our voices as adults, but more importantly that our children recognize that their voice matters and their voice carries a great deal of weight. So you're going to see me talk about this as the year goes on and as frequently as we can to really promote that space of student voice. Recognizing respect for all, this is an important component of our work. You know, I said this during the last special meeting that was held just a couple of weeks ago. Was it last week? I don't even, last week, about the importance of our kids growing not only academically, but as children of really high character. And part of that is making sure that we're spreading this awareness and support for kindness for all those that we come across inside of our school system, outside of our school system. Each and every day, how do we promote this idea of kindness? Because it's not always there. And we need to make sure that we do a good job inside of our schools and continue to encourage our kids to promote the importance of being respectful and kind to all those that we come across. So I do want to recognize some of our award winners, and we do have a few of them in the audience. I'm not sure if anyone else joined, but I do want to honor and recognize Elvis from 209. Elvis is here. Yes, Elvis, just a big round of applause from 209 as an essay contest winner. We have Anthony also from PS 209, poster contest winner. I'm not sure if Anthony is here or if he's online. But big congratulations to Anthony for his work. We had a multimedia part of this contest where we have Aaliyah, Chris, Imanu, Savannah, Chance, and Chris from PS 201, all being recognized for the multimedia project that they created to celebrate the importance of being respectful. We have Stella and Benjamin from the D25 pre-K centers also recognized for a multimedia presentation. This will actually be in the presentation, but just for interest of time, there's a 1.5 minute long video that was created from the pre-K centers, just reminding us of where all of this starts. This starts for our kids at the very earliest of ages to really promote the importance of kindness and being there to support one another. Which is what this is really all about for our kids. Also recognizing Min Kang from 185 for the essay contest award winner. We also have Jocelyn, who's here in the audience. Jocelyn, big round of applause for Jocelyn. For the poster contest, as you can see on the screen. I mean, what our children are able to do, aside from promoting a real sense of respect and appreciation for others, is gifts that I certainly do not have, which is being able to create something like you see on the screen. So big shout out to Jocelyn. And multimedia contest was Isabella from 294 in Bell Academy. So big shout out to Isabella as well for the work that she put in to promote respect and kindness across our district. Just a reminder for everyone, February is Black History Month. You're going to see our schools engage in a variety of different projects and reading of text to really promote Black history across our district and appreciation for those who've made such a great impact in the world today. This is National School Counseling Week, so big shout out to all of our school counselors for the work that they do every day on behalf of our children, for our students, and for our families. You have an opportunity to meet or see your counselor, or even have an opportunity to shoot them an email just expressing appreciation for them, that would be great, as their role is super important for our kids and our district. Just some upcoming events, reminders. We do have a virtual math workshop that's coming up next week on Wednesday, really talking about discussions in mathematics. There will be an iReady session next week on Thursday. This is for any family or any parent that would like to learn a little bit about how they access the information in iReady, to talk about progress that our kids are making. I know sometimes our parents receive reports and they're not sure where to access them. It's a really great opportunity. There will be technology available for anyone that would like to join us, so please do so. We just had a special education workshop. The next one is on March 18th. If you weren't able to be there for the January 14th session, all of these things are recorded and accessible to our families, so we encourage you to pop into those if you need additional information. And today we had an Acadians workshop for children in kindergarten and first grade. The session was packed with information. It was short, but to the point, and I encourage any of our families with kindergartners and first graders to connect with these videos. It was recorded. It will be posted sometime tomorrow or the next day. Thank you to Louis for always editing the information and getting it out there in the digital space for our families. But I really encourage anyone that has children in kindergarten and first grade. And we have the second grade session is next week, Wednesday, February 12th. So if you haven't been able to participate, I encourage you to do so, because it's a wealth of information around how our kids are being screened. It gives you an idea of whether or not they're meeting benchmark or currently not meeting benchmark. These are just a couple of enrollment timelines. I said to you a few months ago that I would share this every session just to make sure everyone is consistently made aware. High school admissions, that process is come to a completion in terms of application windows. Offers will be released coming soon, which is only a month away. Hard to believe, but March 6th offers will be released. Also, the middle school admissions process that has come and gone in terms of the application window. Wednesday, April 9th is when offers will be released. Kindergarten and kindergarten G&T. The window closes for kindergarten and kindergarten G&T applications on January 24th. That has since passed. Offers will be released for kindergarten on April 2nd. Thank you, Louis. 3K pre-K window closes on February 28th. So if you haven't done so and you have children that are coming into the system, please make sure that you get online and get those applications in. If you're not sure, there are different ways to access, whether it's myschools.nyc, visiting a family welcome center, or using the phone number that is listed there. Please make sure that you take advantage of the opportunity to get enrolled in our 3K pre-K programs here in the district. 3K pre-K timeline is here, February 28th. The 3K pre-K application closes, and offers will be released on the 13th and 20th of May. G&T grades 1 through 4 application window opens on April 21st, closes on May 9th, and then offers will be released on June the 11th. Summarizing, making sure that all of our families know that yes, summarizing will be accessible again this summer for all children in grades K through 8. The window opens for applications on Tuesday, March 4th until Friday, March 28th. What I would say is please do not hesitate. If this is something that you are interested, do not wait until after the 28th to put in an application. Please make sure that you take advantage of it during the window that is there, so that when offers are released, you are part of that opportunity. We are really excited about supporting this again this year across District 25. So Civics for All and Project Soapbox, we do have Melinda here. She has led this work of Civics for All and ensuring that Project Soapbox occurs across our schools in District 25, where our kids have an opportunity to engage in action research and also get their point across through a call to action for the community. So what I had mentioned at previous CEC meetings that I would like to do is bring some of our students in to share a little bit about what their passion is and what they would like to, what their call to action is for the community. So we're very fortunate that we have two children here today. We have Ismail from PS 242, and we have Penelope from PS 193 that are going to join us tonight to share a little bit about two different topics, entirely different topics, but we have one around food waste and another one around bipolar disorder, which I'm really eager to listen to both of our students talk about. So Ismail, if you would be okay, we can call you on up to share your speech with the audience tonight. Everyone give him a nice big round of applause. So Ismail, before you start, and parents, I hate to have my back to you, but to look at the screen and then it's hard to do both. So I'll try to have, some of you have half of my face on the screen, the rest of you have half of my face here. But public speaking is not an easy thing. This is very, very difficult for adults to do, let alone kids that are going through our system. And what this teaches is really, honestly, it's immeasurable for our children at such a young age. They grow in confidence. They grow as readers. They grow as those that are taking a stand and proving a point based on what they've researched. So I'm really excited about the work that we're doing here in the district, and I want to continue to elevate it as often as we can. Because while we have just a handful of us that have been able to join tonight, the more we get the message out around the importance of this, the better, because it shows kids what their civic responsibilities are as youngsters and eventually growing into those that eventually become the leaders of tomorrow. So we thank you guys for joining us. And Ismail, I'm going to turn it over to you so that you can bring us through your speech around food waste. And whenever you're ready, buddy.
Hi, my name is Ismail Leal. Today I have a question for you. Do you have leftover food from last night home?
Louis.
Hold on.
In your refrigerator? Your answer is yes. Then this message is for you. I will be talking about food waste. Every year, 1.3 billion tons of food is wasted around the world. This is equal to the weight of 217 million elephants. Let's think about how hard a farmer works.
Just speak over it. You're good.
Let's think about how hard a farmer works to grow tomatoes. The farmer uses seeds, soil, water, energy, and money to grow them. Once these tomatoes are ready, they will be transported to a supermarket. Let's say you buy those tomatoes and make tomato sauce for a pizza to share with your family. At dinner time, you don't eat it all and you throw it away. So this is a big problem because you're not only losing the tomatoes the farmer grew, but the energy, the land, the water, and the money needed to grow, transport, prepare, and store those tomatoes. For example, in my school, we sometimes eat a little bit of our lunch and throw out the rest of it. Imagine a world where everyone can eat healthy, affordable, and delicious food every day. Households across all continents wasted over 1 billion meals a day. In 2022, while 783 million people were affected by hunger and a third of humanity faced food insecurity. Even though many people have a lot of food, there are still a lot of people who have to go and sleep on an empty stomach. 1 in 11 people go hungry every day. Hunger rates in Africa are especially high, with 1 out of 5 people going hungry each day. In New York City, more than 2 million people experience hunger every day. So the question is, what can we do to stop wasting food? Thankfully, there are some easy ways we can all try to reduce food waste. Do not throw away leftovers. Instead, you can freeze or make new recipes. Whenever you eat at home, at school, or at a birthday party, wrap only what you can actually eat. And remember, you always have seconds if you are still hungry. Store food properly and always check for expiration date. Donate to food banks and compost food waste in your backyard, or bring it to a compost drop-off site. Next time you see a ripe banana, think twice before you throw it away. Don't forget, there are many ways to use it. Be creative and make a healthy smoothie, a cupcake, or a delicious banana bread. Together, we can eliminate food waste.
Great job.
She's gonna
That was such a great job. And folks, if we can just give Ismail another round of applause. That was really good.
She's not gonna use the mic.
And you know, what impresses me so much about the soapbox speeches is the research that our kids are doing. I'm not sure how many times you've heard according to, or you know, certain numbers of 1.2 billion, I think you used inside of that, and the number of elephants that it equates to, just kind of allows us to connect. And I'm not sure if you also heard just the changes in tone in his voice when he wanted to make a point. These are really all important skills that our kids are learning, and I appreciate you for showcasing it tonight for us. So thank you very much. And Penelope, are you ready? All right, come and join us. Share
She's
with
gonna
us.
try to do without the mic, she's gonna say.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm Penelope Pardo, and I'm from PS 193. Did you know that 4% of children 18 years old and under suffer from bipolar disorder in the United States? Furthermore, some of them are as young as 5 years old. Bipolar disorder is a mental health condition that causes extreme mood swings in children and teens. Unfortunately, most people are diagnosed later in life. I believe that parents and teachers should be informed of the symptoms of different mental health conditions so that they can properly help our children at any early age. One reason I believe that parents and teachers should be aware of the symptoms of bipolar disorder with kids is because an early diagnosis can help parents and teachers to provide the proper care for the child. For example, with an early diagnosis, parents can help their children starting at a young age and provide the right treatment for the children. Bipolar disorder is long-lasting, and only treatments can help children with bipolar disorder. A member of my family unfortunately suffers from bipolar disorder. This family member often suffers from fear and anxiety from everyday situations. It is very difficult to watch this family member dealing with such high-pressure stress, and there's nothing I could do about it. That is why I believe children should be able to get tested for bipolar disorder at any age. With an early diagnosis, parents and teachers can help their children to deal with bipolar disorder properly. Another reason I believe an early diagnosis for bipolar disorder is important is because parents can prevent their children from suffering other conditions related to bipolar disorder. For example, children who didn't get diagnosed with bipolar disorder from an early age can suffer from conjunctive impairment, which is a manic or depression phase of bipolar disorder. Some children that suffer from bipolar disorder can be misinterpreted as the misbehaved student. They can't control their anxieties, frustrations, and anger due to a mental health condition. It is not right for children to be mislabeled if they didn't get the proper treatments. Now that you know bipolar disorder is a mental health condition, we must do our best to support children, parents, and teachers to deal with this condition. First, parents have to be educated on different mental health conditions so that they can support children. Next, schools need to educate everyone about mental health conditions so that students won't judge children that are dealing with these mental health conditions. Finally, friends, if you ever feel frustrated, angry, or depressed for no reason, please reach out to your families, teachers, or even your principal so that you can get the proper help to deal with your feelings. Together, we can make a difference. Feel frustrated? Tell someone and get help. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for that, Penelope. What a powerful set of presentations that we just heard from our children. And what I love about Soapbox is that oftentimes what we do get to hear are personal scenarios where our kids are vulnerable about things that are happening to them in their own lives. And it allows it to get into the atmosphere for those that are listening to help make a change. And I appreciate the eye contact that you made throughout the entire presentation and how connected you were with the audience. You did a terrific job. So both of you, thank you so much. You did represented your school, and you did this really, really, really well tonight. So thank you so much for your presentation. So on that note, and just continuing with my own presentation tonight for all of you, does connect to this space around wellness, and of course now to try to find where on my desktop I am. Here I am.
He switched you.
Is around Wellness Day. So on March 15th, we're going to be holding a Wellness Day that is intended to support and promote mental wellness. So Penelope, maybe I'll be doing some outreach to you so you can give me some feedback around mental wellness, physical wellness, SEL, and interesting that there will also be a space around healthy eating. So maybe perhaps I can tap into you too for some feedback around how we make sure we don't waste any food during this event. But I do want to share with you the groups that we are currently assembling, and I'm excited about it. So usually when I have ideas, while the intention is to be, small so that we can start, they tend to wind up getting pretty big. So these are the partners that we are currently preparing to work with for this Wellness Day, which will be at Common Point, Queens facility right next to Bell Academy and 169. So we're partnering with both of those schools as well. But we're expecting to have NYCFC present to engage our kids in some soccer. The New York Islanders will be present, New York Mets and USA Baseball, USTA Tennis Association, Layton Athletics, which is also around lacrosse, City Lax, also lacrosse, Taekwondo, Common Point will be there, New York City Public School Office of School Food. We'll be having some healthy eating samples available so that we can engage in that. We have the 109th Precinct, Mind Up, UFT, Brave, which is an organization that does something called a Buddha booth, which is a place where you can kind of go in and get as a calming station. Kendra Scott will be present. They'll have a booth. Dial a Teacher, the Slow-Mo Institute, which is about creating slime and learning how to get ourselves into a good mental space. Fun and Function, YWCA, New York Psychotherapy and Counseling Center, Fresh Air Fund, and Korean Community Center, just to name a few, I guess. But the goal of this partnership is to begin work in collaboration with the CEC, our CBOs, as well as our organizations to really promote wellness, whether it's through kindness, whether it's through about creating really a good physical space of wellness for ourselves, and promoting social emotional learning across our district. So this will be open up to our entire community. This is not just about children and families that reside in the 169 and Bell area. This will be open to our entire community. We'll be sending out registration information for our families so that we have an idea of how many people will be coming. You'll get more info on our district site as well as flyers sent to you guys via Gamma over the coming weeks.
Is there a cap on how many people?
We're likely to cap it if we start seeing it getting to a place where it might not be manageable. So I'm hoping that we get to that place where that many people are interested. But just to give you a little bit of information around where we're going with Wellness Day. And that concludes this portion of my report. For today, I'd just like to congratulate all of our award recipients again, as well as our two students that presented on Project Soapbox and their families for being here tonight. I really appreciate you guys joining us. So thank you so much.
I'm going to give you a pause for a second to get a little break.
Yeah.
We do have the rest of our members here now, so we are going to just quickly go back to reviewing the minutes. If anyone can just take a look and then make a motion. So you get a breather.
Thanks.
That's not me. You were here, that's all that matters. Somebody want to make a motion? Shirley, anybody want, and Joe seconds. Okay, perfect. So now Dr. Mike is going to take over again to go over our Fair Student Funding presentation. So take it away.
Absolutely. Okay, greetings everyone again. So I am here tonight along with Paula Latito, our budget director for the district, to go over the Fair Student Funding budget presentation for everyone tonight. During this presentation, you'll learn a little bit about what the overall allocation is in terms of Fair Student Funding for New York City, but also directly connected to District 25. You'll see a little bit about the weights that come alongside the funding allocation that goes to each school, but also directly related to each student in the district, and how there are certain weights that come along with if you are a child that has that's an English language learner, if you're a child that has an IEP. Each of those comes with their own weight, so I'll talk to you a little bit about that as well tonight. So let me see why this is not blowing up to full size. Yeah, why is it not going full size?
It's PDF.
It's a PDF, yeah. Okay, perfect. That's good. I can go from.
Yeah, and then the arrows.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to review the New York City Public School and District budget. We're going to review Fair Student Funding, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to see a school budget webpage so that you have an idea of what that looks like, even for your own school. So I'm going to bring you through the process of where you find it, what buttons you have to click on. Remember, this is recorded, so you can always go back as a parent, and Paula is here in the event that I forget to share something or wants to embellish on something that I've already said to add into tonight's discussion. So you're going to see an overall of this year's New York City Public Schools budget and the specific budget for our district, a detailed explanation of Fair Student Funding formula, and a walkthrough of the web pages that are associated with that. You're going to hear a little bit about where our funding comes from, how our budget is spent, district-specific budget, and school-specific budget information. So where does our funding come from? So this data is based on the most recent budget included in the mayor's January plan. Total budget for 24-25 school year was $41.2 billion, or about $32,000 per capita in our system. New York City provides most of the funding for 25-26 school year. The city will contribute $24 billion, or 59% of the total budget on education. Most of our city funding comes from what we call city tax levy dollars. City tax levy dollars are drawn from local taxes, including property taxes, sales taxes, and personal income taxes. Every year, the mayor proposes the amount of city tax levy funding we get, and the city council must pass the budget into law before the fiscal year begins on July 1. $15 billion, or 36%, comes from New York State funding. Funding from New York State is our second largest funding source. Every year, the governor proposes the amount of state funding that we will get, mainly based on the number and type of students enrolled in our schools. And then the state legislature must pass the budget into law. The new fiscal year begins on May 1. Funding generally comes from income and corporate taxes, as well as property and sales taxes. We also have one final piece of funding that comes from the federal government, which comprises a total of about $2 billion, or 5% of our funding of this school year. The federal government is our third largest funding source. Every year, Congress proposes a budget, and the president must sign the budget into law in advance of the new fiscal year, which begins October 1. The Every Student Succeed Act provides the rules for allocating most of the federal funding we receive. So what you see here is a breakdown of how these dollars are allocated across New York City schools. And you'll see those allocations on the left-hand side of the pie graph. You have K to 12 schools and instruction, early childhood, employee and pension benefits, debt payments, charters, non-public and contract schools, central administration, and superintendent and field offices. So in terms of employee benefits, pension, and debt, there's an allocation of $12.1 billion that pays for health care, pension payments, and debt payments on loans for school construction and upgrades. Charters are allocated 8% or $3.4 billion allocated for charter schools as mandated by state law. Non-public and contract schools, that's non-public and contract school payments, covers schools and programs that educate New York City students but are not directly run by the Department of Education. This totals of $2.3 billion. This includes students with disabilities attending specialized schools and supplemental services to students attending non-public schools. Superintendent offices comprise approximately 1% of the overall budget. School operations section pays for non-instructional services that students receive. $5.2 billion goes to free breakfast and lunch, bus routes, and loan payments on buildings for new construction and renovation, similar to what a mortgage payment would be. Also allocate $1.9 billion to support early childhood for birth to 5 across New York City. And lastly, the largest proportion of our budget is allocated towards K to 12 schools and instruction. $15.8 billion is allocated annually to support schools, including general education teachers, counselors, deans, health and climate initiatives such as gym teachers, Respect for All, climate action days, special education, after-school programs, textbooks, computers, and so on. So looking at it through the lens of District 25, so District 25 and 24-25, budget allocation was $644 million. And you can see on the right-hand side of the pie graph, a large portion of that comes from fair student funding, followed by our other state and federal dollars that comes to us, whether it's through Title I or other federal grants like Title III, which our schools also receive for our English language learners. And state contract for excellence money is another portion of funding that comes to our schools on a year-to-year basis. But this is what accounts for the $644 million that comes that came to District 25 in this school year. So the New York City does a great job of making all of this information transparent to our families, and everyone can access what your own school's budget looks like right on the school site. So I'm going to quickly go into the New York City Schools page really quickly, just so that you can see what this looks like in real time. And you can't see my screen, which is not good. Hold on, let me try to exit the other one.
Stop sharing.
What's that? Stop share?
Yeah.
Why is that doing that?
You shared just the window.
Oh.
Not the full screen.
Gotcha.
Move desktop.
Okay. So we have our regular New York City page. Up on the top, you'll see where it says Find a School. This is where any parent can go and locate their building right on the regular DOE site. So when you click Find a School, just as an example, Q020, and it'll pop up what the location for that building is. And then we hit search. And this is making a liar out of me because it doesn't want to open. Hold on.
Click this search box again?
No, I got it.
I got it.
Yeah. You click on the school. Sometimes you'll see that they'll populate multiple schools because there are other 20s in New York City. But it'll bring you to this screen. And once you're on this screen, it'll bring you to reports. And then once you're in reports, you'll see budget and finances. When you click in Budget and Finances, it will give you a breakdown of the resource allocation that's available for each of our schools. And just to bring you quickly through each of these windows, just to give you a little bit of perspective of what you would see. So you'll get the overarching, and this is a little bit small. Let me see if I can blow it up a little bit. You'll see the overarching allocation that a given school would receive, from what it would mean in terms of collective bargaining agreement allocation, as year to year, because of contractual agreements, salaries will increase, which means also the support for the amount of money a school will receive also needs to be accounted for inside of that space. But you'll also notice that you'll see FSF allocation. The vast majority of funds that our schools will receive will say FSF. That stands for Fair Student Funding. That's coming in large part from New York City. So when you see FSF, it's coming from New York City dollars. Other things like C4E, CFE, that's coming from the state. Other types of things that are coming from the federal government, you'll see it'll say Title I. And I'll show you what that looks like just in a moment, so you have an idea of what you would see as a parent. And these are the types of allocations, and you'll see that there are many different ones that you would see looking at this view. So you'll see 3K for all. So if a school does happen to support 3-year-olds, you'll see what the allocation is for children, for schools that have children that are in the 3K for all program. It will come with a budget allocation. For children that are going into schools for pre-K, it'll come with a budget allocation specifically for those two programs. But you'll also see other types of dollars that are allocated in here, whether for children that have IEP paras, for rollout in terms of contract for excellence dollars. All of the dollar allocations that are accessible are present in here for you to see as a parent, including things like Title I for our Title I schools and the allocation that the school would receive. In addition, it comes with a budget summary, and the budget summary is something that shows you, based on the school and the allocation that they've received, how many positions do we have that are being supported with the dollars that come from the school. In large part, the vast majority of our budgets account for this teaching staff that we have in our building. Obviously, there are other funding sources that we use, but the majority of our dollars do go to supporting staffing inside of our building. This will give you an idea of what the school currently has on each grade level based on what is in our system. So it's a nice little tool for you guys to review and visit as not only as parents in our general population, but certainly our school leadership team members. It's just a great reference point for you as well. And then they have something called the budget at a glance. This will give you an entire breakdown of each of the allocations that the schools receive in alignment with the demographics that the school has, which is an important part for what I'm going to share with you next, which is getting into the formula and the weights that each of these allocations have. So just bear with me as I now try to refine where it is that I just hid the other document. I will get it for you in just a moment.
In preview, you made it small.
Yeah, I dropped it down.
I saw it. Okay, yeah.
I know, it's terrible. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not it.
You took it away.
I took it away?
Go back to the doc.
I don't know what's happening to me.
Click on, go back to the doc.
Huh?
Go back to the doc and look for preview.
Yeah, no, it's right here. Where'd it go, though? That's not the right one either.
Go to the doc.
This is why everyone needs a Lewis.
That's it.
We all need a
Yeah,
Lewis.
it's not popping up.
It's back there, just hit the show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that, guys. So this is what I just went through is on this particular slide deck. Now, who decides on how the money is spent at the school level? So our principals do have a great deal of flexibility in deciding how funding sources are going to be spent based on student and community needs. This is a very important connection to our school leadership teams, which are made up of staff, of our teachers, DC 37, as well as parent members across our schools, making sure that there is the alignment between our goals and what the budget is currently calling for. So as part of that decision-making at the school leadership team, then it does come to me for me to approve when goals are developed. I will have to approve to make sure that there's alignment between what our schools are saying that they want to get accomplished and the budget allocation that they do have. So what is fair student funding? How does fair student funding work? And what are the proposed weights? So I did kind of go over this part around fair student funding just in my chat as I was going through the individual school example that I provided. But fair student funding in general, as I mentioned, is the largest funding source that we wind up receiving. It's based on the number of students that each of our schools have, plus the specific needs that our kids have. So children that are receiving perhaps set services, or if they're receiving integrated co-teaching, or if they're in special class, they all come with a specific additional dollar amount on top of what the standard dollar amount is that each child receives. And the reason for that is for additional staffing that they might need to incur in order to support those individual needs. So funding sources that also support this type of support for children, Title I, Title III, IDEA, are targeted allocations to support specific initiatives. You'll see things like charters, 3K pre-K, mandated individual IP-related services are funded separately, so it's not part of fair student funding, so schools receive additional allocations for that. And District 75 programs are also funded separately inside of our schools. And funding is provided based on a class model, not a student per capita for D75. So fair student funding provides schools with flexibility, as I mentioned, to support the individual needs inside of our schools. So what does this look like? So 4 building blocks combined to create each school's fair student funding allocation. There's a foundation dollar amount that is of the amount of $225,000 that each school starts with just on its own end. There's collective bargaining that goes into it, per capita dollar amount, the number of students and their needs, and that eventually equals the fair student funding allocation that each building will wind up receiving. So this is all based on the weights that come for each child, which I'm going to show you briefly here. And what you'll see for the 25-26 proposed weights, it all begins dependent on the grade level. So grade level weight for kindergarten through fifth grade, it starts at the basis of a 1. So every student gets the base allocation, which in last year was over $4,200. Every child comes with that base dollar amount for elementary school. For children in grades 6 through 8, that base amount is 1.08, and for high schools, it's 1.03. What you'll see on this left-hand side are academic interventions. So there are additional weights that come for poverty. There's additional weights for children below standards, well below standards, graduation challenges. You'll see weights for students in temporary housing, standalone English language learners, both in elementary and middle to high school, bilingual programs, special education programs. Each of them come with, and you can see there's a variation within the context of their weights, dependent on the needs that they have. So what do all of these numbers actually now mean? So when you come to this particular example, you'll see how each student can wind up incurring a different dollar amount based on what their needs may be as an individual student, which comes all into play with all kids then being added together to come up with a fair student funding allocation for each school. So for example, when we have the AVA on the left-hand side, you'll see that the allocation for AVA is different for Miles. So AVA is coming from an elementary school. And again, maybe not the images might not necessarily show exactly their age group that they're in. But AVA coming from elementary school starts with that basis of a 1, where she would receive the initial allocation required for all students. Then she will receive for the special education services that she needs an additional weight of 1.74 to support the services necessary to meet the expectations of the IEP. then you'll see that Ava is not only a child that fits into the general student category, but also receives special needs allocation, but is also a student who is an English language learner. So there's an additional weight that is added for that additional support. You'll also see here that Ava also is in need of academic intervention. So there will be an additional 0.12 that's added to that weight, so that Ava is also receiving some of those dollars to support academic intervention. Also a student that's in temporary housing, as well as the space of concentration of needs funding that is available for Ava. So you'll see that an individual student can fit into multiple categories based on the funding formula, which means that one student to the next will be given a different allocation based on those needs. So as an example of what that might mean, now Miles is a student who starts off with a base allocation of 1.08, also receives special education services, and depending on what that might be, whether it's set services, ICT, or special class, will come with a different weight scale for children, which is why you see a 0.56 added to Miles and the funding that will come to Miles. Miles is also an English language learner who gets a 0.55 weight, also in need of academic intervention, a 0.35 weight, and is also a student in temporary housing. So each of these wind up creating what Miles would wind up receiving per capita for him as an individual student. Now, what does that translate into in terms of a funding allocation? So given the idea of a $4,254 base allocation for each child, these two children would receive additional allocations based on their needs. So Ava would receive a $13,742 allocation per capita because of the needs that she has, and Miles would receive an $11,317 allocation based on his needs and the funding formula that was presented to you just a few moments ago. Paula, did I hit all of that on the head? Is there anything else that I didn't mention there?
We can't hear you.
You're on mute, Paula. Oh, Louis, can you unmute your mom?
You had to put him on the spot there.
Okay. No,
There we go.
Dr. Mike, you did really a fantastic job. I mean, everything you said was to the point. Like I said, it hasn't really changed over the years, except for the new web pages, which are very helpful and informative, but I actually did a great job.
Awesome. Thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Paula.
You're welcome.
So you can find an overview of the New York City Public Schools budget on the New York City Public School website, found under About Us and Funding Our Schools. The link is accessible to you. You can also find the following online on the New York City Public Schools Info Hub under Reports and Financial Data and Reports. Detailed information about each and every school budget allocation in the form of a school allocation memorandum. And this is important for everyone to realize. Not every funding source can be used for everything that you want. They all come with a memorandum that indicates how those dollars can be used and what they should be used for inside of our schools. So Title I dollars come with certain expectations for how they will be used, different from fair student funding, where fair student funding can be used for mostly everything. Title I does come with certain things that it should be used for inside of our buildings. And those allocation memorandum are available for you guys to look at to see how they can be used inside of our schools. There's also a guide for fair student funding, as well as a fair student funding allocation that's calculated for each school. I do recommend for our families, those that are interested in looking at that breakdown, to do what I just showed you how to do on the school site. Always available too for anyone that might be interested in looking at that, that's not sure how to find it even after tonight. Be happy to show you where to find all of that information as well. You can find the following online on each individual school webpage following the reports in budget and finances, information that I shared on slide 3 of the presentation. Fair student funding details webpage, bless you.
Bless you.
This is something that I had shared with you guys, bless you. Sneezing on the truth, sneezing on the truth. The website, excuse me, shares the beginning of the school year allocation, that's the initial allocation, based on projected register, any mid-year change, and then a final allocation. So funding is based on the October 31st deadline for our schools, for when for students that are inside of our schools, as of that October 31st deadline, is when they kind of pull to see how many children that we have. So if there are adjustments that need to be made in our building, schools will receive that additional allocation. If in fact they wind up having 10 more students that came to the school that were beyond their original projection, schools will receive that allocation so that they are brought whole in terms of the dollars that they are intended to receive. School budget at a glance, this I did review with you already. It does give you the total budget per capita, the school funding that's available, the school spending, and the student demographics. This will give you a general idea, particularly around Ls and students with disabilities, around how those allocations were calculated. Obviously, it's more in depth than what you would just see on those slides, because you don't know all of the individual needs of each kid that's in the school, but it gives you a general perspective around what how that calculation was made for each building. We are continuing to review the formula to address other concerns we've heard about school budgeting in future years, including challenges related to school size and enrollment shifts. So for those of you that are interested in sharing your feedback, there is an email address that we encourage you to reach out to. That's budgetpubliccomments@schools.nyc.gov, or by phone to 212-374-6754. Comments and questions may be directed between March 7th and April 22nd. So if you do have feedback, we do encourage you to engage in and have your voices heard inside of this process before it does go to the space where it gets voted on at the city council level. So there is that opportunity for our community members to do so. And lastly, just thank you for listening, and certainly if you have any questions, Paula and I are here to answer them as best we can in relation to budget. Yeah.
Title I is when the school has 60% or more student eligible for lunch. And Title VII is the federal grant for bilingual.
Say it again. So Title I, yes, I heard the 60%, yes.
Yeah, Title VII is the federal funding for bilingual.
So Paula, just Title VII, just make sure, I want to make sure that this is accurate. Title VII is for bilingual programs?
The schools aren't allocated Title VII. We have Title III. We have Title III, which is Title III LEP, which is for the ENL, with the, the ENL. And then they receive immigrant funds, but we don't have a Title VII.
That's probably, state directly to the school.
In our
Perhaps.
district, we don't, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
Is there a plan for how school budgets are going to increase for the fall for class size law? They're going to have to be hiring probably more teachers than most of the buildings.
Yeah, so our schools engage in a process of looking at their current footprint in their building, the enrollment that they have currently in their schools, and developed a plan to support class size reduction, which is a process that we've just engaged in to review and prepare for September. So provided that there's feasibility and it can happen, there will be an expectation that schools that are approved for this will receive those additional funds so that they can do the hiring that's necessary for their buildings.
Now to figure out what the numbers are going to be for the fall.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So schools will get projections, and based on those projections, then they can decide on how many classes can we create per grade, and then that on top of the physical footprint of the building, how many classes can we generate? We do have a significant number of our schools It's the majority of our schools that have completed the application to create lower classes inside of our buildings. We will certainly inform you guys as soon as we hear how many of those are going to be receiving that additional allocation to support it moving into next year. So I'm hopeful that that will happen. But yes, it will involve for any of those additional classes that are created, it will involve the importance of obviously hiring and creating more opportunities for new staff in our schools, yeah.
Okay, they're not gonna have to stretch what they have like for this year.
No, the goal would be that, additional dollars, some of our schools, there would, the feasibility based on current budget and the number of classes they would need to add, they wouldn't be able to necessarily stretch what they currently have to do that. So it would involve additional funding. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we've already gone through the application process, and our schools have engaged in that review, and then whether or not they'll be approved is on the radar, and hopefully sooner rather than later, we'll have some answers on that. Okay? So that's an important question.
Any other council members have questions? Anybody have any questions? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, you're welcome, Paula. Thank you.
Thanks, Paula.
Good night. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so moving into my president's report, I know we have a lot of families with little ones here, and I don't want to keep them too late. So I just wanted to really touch first on CEC election season. I don't know how many parents have been seeing the messages, getting the calls, things like that, but you can apply to run for a seat on the council, like we are here, through February 16th. After that, there'll be candidate forums, and then there'll be elections. So just please keep an eye out for that. If you're interested, please definitely step up and apply. We're always looking to have new people stepping in. Mel, do you have anything to share about it?
I just want to quickly share numbers. I have some data, which is not great, but it's not great across the city. Currently, 348 parents have voted, have run across the city. There are almost 1,000 seats. Currently in District 25, there are 12 applicants. So there are 10 seats to fill. And out of 12 applicants, if 2 of them are in the same school, they kind of cancel each other out. So it's really important that parents are running for these seats so that you could join the council and have a choice.
So, question?
Yeah.
I'm a parent of a child in the District 25 3K center. I've gotten a billion messages.
I'm sure.
However, when I reached out to the election board, they said I was blocked from running because my child is injured, even though he is a district student.
Mm.
Is there any way that they, in the future, can open that up? Because we do live in the district, our child goes to the District 3K center. Like you said, there's not a ton of people running, and I was pretty desperate to actually be one of those people.
Mm.
And then to be told, nope, you're not good. Is there any potential plan in the future to allow those students, those parents in 3K and 3K to run first?
So eligibility is set by the New York State law. So that would be something to raise with your legislators.
Okay.
And 3K parents are eligible to run if they are seated in a school, but unfortunately the centers are not.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Maribel, but let's say the council isn't filled, could those parents then apply?
Well, I would say next year your child will be in kindergarten.
They'll be in 3K.
3K, still at the center, still at the center likely.
Yeah.
It is something that I will certainly, elevate up
But
as
there's
a request, but because it is part of the state law, but I will certainly echo it up.
But
Love
there-
having our parents wanting to be involved,
Yeah,
so,
no, we really-
the more the merrier.
The other option is, just so that you're aware, there is borough president appointees. So you can actually go about applying that way. We have one of our borough president appointees here, John, so we really do rely on that also because we do have 2 seats from the borough president that we hope to fill every year as well. No problem. So I don't want you guys to feel obligated, or you have little ones. If you need to leave, please feel
Yeah.
free. We are going to move over to public speakers. Joe?
Yeah.
Not you.
How many years? Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Look, it works now. Huh? two exciting things today. One, Dr. Mike stole out my thunder, but it's very good. We did this for Queens a couple of months back, and I think it's a great idea, March 15th. I'm looking forward to it as well. The vendors seem so, exciting, one better than the other, and I think it's great when the kids and parents, and not every time, and it's, over the years, people say to me, I work all the time, I don't get to see my, child most of the time, and it's good to bond, and it's a nice thing, so it's really exciting, and it's a nice partnership between Common Point, CEC, the district, UFT, so looking forward to it, and it's something that I think it would grow in other districts as well, because it's really important. The second thing I want to talk about a little bit about our paraprofessionals. You may have heard, you may have seen, signed the petition. Paraprofessionals work with our most vulnerable children. We have about 23,000 in the city. School opened up this year at about 1,600 short paras, from District 75 to classrooms to pre-K, to 12 to 1 to 1. They're so important. They assist the teacher to help children, and the salaries have gotten so far apart with collective bargaining. So pattern bargaining is what the city does, and let's just say 3%. So 3% of 30,000 is much different than 3% of 130,000. 30 years ago, it was very close, and now it's getting further and further apart. The starting salary for a para is approximately $32,000. So the UFT went to the city council. The city council was very happy that in the process of writing a bill to introduce legislation for a $10,000 a year stipend. It's called a stipend, it's not pensionable, but to give to paras because we need to cut, the deficit. Separate than collective bargaining. And we're very excited. Rita Joseph, the councilwoman, and Julie Menon, both have really come to the forefront with this because we've gotten, we see it. They are really very, very important in our system. And honestly, the system really can't function without them on a daily basis. So this is something that's making it, the media right now, and we're trying to get this, and it would be a yearly stipend, and it's so beneficial because they need, they need that right now, and separate than whatever collective bargaining is, and just wanted to mention that, and we're trying to really to figure out a way, and this is something the city council is very happy about. There are people against it a little bit, but I think it's a great way to show that we care. And a lot of people have signed on to the petition, and I'm looking forward to see it. So anybody have any questions about anything? Yes, Mr. Chair.
It's a stipend only, you call me Joseph. Like I don't call you Mr. Kessler. If you want, I will. Anyway, is the stipend forever or just temporary?
No, it would be, a substitute para would get a lesser of amount, but a veteran or a regular appointed.
Hired.
Would get the $10,000. That's the number.
But it's not pensionable.
It's not, because it's a stipend.
Okay. More principals need to hire paras, because I know their paras will suffer for 3 years, they're still not hired. They're in the same school. The principal will say, I have to have the budget. Well, you hire the same para for 3 years, but there are 11, 12 of them in the same school.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not comfortable.
Right. No, I've gotten that message as well. Yes.
Do you happen to have a list of which city council people are backing it? versus ones who are opposed to it, so that constituents can put some pressure on their council people to enact that as opposed to oppose.
I don't know if it's come to that point. When I say opposed to it, there are some people on the EQFT that, why don't the teachers get 10, everybody is for themselves. So, but Julie Menon, who is a very powerful and could very well be the city council speaker one day next year, and Rita Joseph, a very pro-education. Every meeting I've gone to, it's all about the kids. It's all about the kids. So, and people don't realize how important the paras are, because they really are asked to do a lot. And, back in the day, 30 years ago, the salaries weren't that, much difference, but it has become very evident that you can't survive on $31,000. But I'll let you know. I will look into that if there are any, council. We're pretty good in the city with the council. So this just initiative came about within the last couple of weeks. So we're excited about it, and it's a start. But
Yeah, I know of a school right now that they didn't have another para to use where they needed, actually, and they're using a substitute teacher as a health para right now because they had to find somebody to fill the role.
right. Well, also what happened was when the enrollment went down during COVID, we lost a lot of the paras because the enrollments went down in schools. But the number I just received today was we have 23,000, and they're closing the gap on that 1,600 because it was known those schools that need it. And again, it's budget-wise, but it's a great start. So we're full supportive of that. But yeah, March 15th can't come soon enough, and it's going to be.
We'll put you to work, Mr. Kessler.
Right, it's 5 days before spring. I was just looking on my phone to, write it down and stuff, and then I see big snowstorm next week, so.
Don't say that.
They're texting me already about, is tomorrow gonna be a remote, and I don't know, but I just saw them like a huge storm next week.
Don't tell us.
Anyway, thank you guys.
Thanks, Joe.
That's a fantastic way to end, Joe.
Did you have?
We have a huge storm coming.
Yes.
So we
I'm a
have,
meteorologist and like that.
next we have Stephen, who actually had wanted to speak also.
I more had a question that I wanted to pose
Yeah.
to the council. Given the recent wave of executive orders coming out of the White House right now, does our district have any plans to protect our children from ICE raids coming to the schools, meaning that they are now allowed to enter the schools? I want to know if our district is putting any protocols in place to make sure that our kids are safe. No kid needs to see a bunch of ICE agents come to the classroom during the front set. So we were wondering if there was any plans for that. Secondly, given the other executive orders about the invalidation of identities for LGBTQIA students, is the district putting any protocols in place to make sure that those children are validated? I say this because I'm a therapist by trade who focuses on LGBTQ clients, and invalidating the gender identity of a non-binary or trans student puts them at higher risk of suicide, like exponentially. So putting these things in place within our school district will save children's lives. So I wanted to bring to the council, because I hadn't heard anything about this coming out of anywhere, is there any movement to try and put protocols in place in our schools to protect our really most vulnerable children?
Yeah, so a couple of things. Yes, there are protocols in terms of anything that's related to immigration. So all of our schools have procedures and practices that we all follow in the event of. I said this a number of times to folks. I would hope beyond all hope that we don't come to a space where we have any of those types of scenarios inside of our schools. But we do have protocols that all of our schools follow in the event something like that would happen. When it comes to the space around LGBTQ, one of the things that I'm hoping that you were able to see just from tonight in and of itself, the space about promoting wellness, the space around promoting kindness and respect, is all centered around making sure that we are celebrating each and every individual for who they are, which is a springboard into future conversations around wellness, and ensuring that inside of our building, so every single building, is held to a set of expectations around building culture. And in terms of building culture, one of those expectations around promoting an appreciation and awareness for the community at large and whoever it is that's within our community. So that's an expectation that I hold all of our schools accountable to. So there is certainly that space for every single one of our buildings and building leaders for me to hold them accountable to that standard. So that's an expectation.
The reason I brought that second one up, because yes, I totally heard that what you were saying, was in the recent executive order, the president said that federal funding for schools could be stripped if they identify children under the term non-binary and chose a name or a gender that does not match their genitalia. So that risk of our schools having federal funding cut for validating our students is a very real concern, especially given you're saying $2 billion to lose because it's a lot of money. So I just wanted to make sure if there was anything in place, what you said was great, like if that threat comes down to make sure that our district.
Yeah, so so as, listen, I can't necessarily talk to anything that's going to be coming down from the space of the political front and what that might mean or may not mean. The only thing that I will continue to do in my role is continue to promote the expectations that I have for all of our children here in the district, and that's promote a space of creating an atmosphere where we're building children of high character, understanding and appreciation for others. That's what I stand for as a superintendent, as a leader, as a dad, as everything in between. So that's my stance on that space. And if there are new things that come down the pike, it's my role to make sure that we continue to have a positive message here in the district. I can't necessarily speak to any particular orders and how it's impacted us because we're not in that space right now. But regardless of that, my message is still going to be the same. I'm here to support all kids and all families.
Just as a piggyback, I was on a meeting with the chancellor this past week, and the concern about ICE agents did come up, and I know that they are looking at pushing down some guidelines of what they're going to do with the schools, so I know that that's going to be coming out. No problem.
No, great questions.
Anybody on Zoom that wanted to speak? Sorry. Anybody else?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's okay.
I think I missed 2 children that I didn't mention.
No.
I
Okay.
need to mention 2 more children. I think I missed 2 children.
Yeah, let me see.
Did I mention them? Did I mention Stella and Benjamin from the pre-K center?
Yes.
I did? Okay. Maybe sure.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I don't see anybody else in the chat that wanted for public speaking, so we're going to move on to new business. Does anybody have any new business they wanted to bring up tonight? Nope. Okay. Anybody want to make a motion? Shirley? Somebody want a second?
Second.
John? Okay. Our calendar meeting is adjourned at 8:18. Thank you, everyone. I'll give everyone 5 minutes, and then we will go into our business meeting. Thank you, everyone that was on Zoom tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, take 5. Guys ready? Okay, we are going to call the business meeting to order. It is 8:26. I'm going to go through roll call again. Grace?
Here.
Joseph Chow?
Here.
Joseph Chow, thank you. Ismat?
Here.
Alvin?
Here.
Catherine?
Here.
Shirley?
Here.
I'm here. Bob is excused for the evening. John?
Here.
Shirley? Okay. First thing I wanted us to start talking about was the award ceremony. Shirley, I want to let you kind of talk, because I know you've been through the process of everything.
Okay, so award ceremony, anything that we decide to give out to the children or recognize the teachers, we need to order before March because of our budget. That's how it goes. And then we also have to use specific vendor that DOE use. So we can't just decide what we want. It's more like what we can order from there, we have to decide. Last year we did a medal, we did a certificate, and also we did a
Previous years,
pen.
we did pens.
Yeah, with the pen. So selections are not a lot, but we kind of have to make a decision what we're gonna give up soon. Soon as it like this month, soon.
Does anybody have any thoughts? Everybody, other than Grace and Ismail, everybody was at the awards ceremony in the past, so maybe you want to, while I'm signing, do you want to give them a lead? Well, yeah, she was there. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Grace hasn't been there. So basically, we have an award ceremony at the end of every year. We have kids from every school that have been kind of selected by their leadership at the school level, and we do a whole presentation. And then we also have teachers that are chosen as well from each school, and we get to recognize them, have like a chance to celebrate them. So that's what we're talking about, and we've given out certificates every year, and we've done medals, we've done pens for the teachers, different things. So we want to come up with what we want to give this year, something different. Obviously, we want to try to change it up from time to time. So anybody have any thoughts?
I think we should definitely do the certificate. The kids love it. They like to receive the paper and be recognized and take a picture. They love it.
Oh, especially that little guy had that 3K.
Oh, the little one?
last year.
Oh my God. I love
That was the best thing
picture.
ever. Little 3-year-old gave me a hug right on the stage. I'm like,
It
oh
was
my
the
God, this is the
cutest
greatest
thing.
thing in the world.
So
He actually saw me at the pre-K center, because he's there as a pre-Ker now, and he still recognized me. He gave me the big old wave. So cute.
Joe, you can hand these in.
But we do have to wear that, because last year, I was the treasurer, kind of helping AA. Ordering, it can be a little difficult if we do decide later. So more time we spend to think about, more difficult we get. So,
What option vendors do we have and what do they sell?
see, the thing is we have to go online. That's why we need AA. Normally,
Which, speaking of, while we're speaking of that, Egypt is online. Egypt will be starting as on February 16th. Maribel?
Hello, the 18th.
18th?
Everyone, good evening.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Egypt.
thanks for
The
joining.
18th is my start date.
We are very, very excited.
Yes, the feeling is mutual.
I'm also very excited. You should say you're more excited. I'm the most.
Maribel's even more excited.
I'm glad to be at home, honestly.
Well, this is something that as soon as you're here, we'll be looking to probably make a move on and get the order going. So I'm glad you're on.
I'm listening and taking notes. I've been doing so.
So just everyone think about it, and I think as long as we do it by the, come up with a decision by the next meeting, it's early March, we should be
You say
okay.
March,
So we
like
have to get-
before March or by the end of March?
But with how we have to order, because
The
each
exact
vendor,
window
like certain
We have
things
a
that we order.
question.
So I have a question. So we
Is-
decide to order from the vendor for the award ceremony.
I want to say
But
it's
by
the,
when, specifically by when do we have to make a decision? Because I know last year we had a little bit of.
yeah, it's the
trouble
beginning of
because
March.
we have to do everything by like March, or the beginning of March, so that.
But qualifications, some of them you allow you
For
to do it,
electronics
but-
has passed.
Yeah.
But I don't
This would be for medals or a gift type item.
So I think that deadline is 7. Right, so.
The deadline comes really fast.
No, but I ordered your
It's coming.
As far as awards and things like that, I think the deadline is June 30th. But if you need it for now, you just want to leave time for.
Right, we need it for June,
Yeah.
So as soon as you can, because then you can have the shipping delays. Even here now, yes, it's not shipping from certain places. You're overwhelmed, you're understaffed, so.
Do you know what vendor you used last year?
I would have to ask Wendy.
We could probably look that up, though. That should be able to be looked up in the system to see what.
Because then I can show you how a lot
I don't know if she used it.
shop do.
She used the what, P card?
No, we have to be part of the I could ask her though.
Yeah.
I could ask Wendy.
Vanguard is the only vendor. So you don't need this.
Yeah, you want to order from.
And they have all kinds of that
Okay. And then
stuff that
while
that you
talking
give
about
kids, they have access to.
that, we also have to start thinking about people for our Joe Kessler Award.
I will accept again.
Do you, okay, last year, candidates were Jody Benedetto and Esther. So how about we bring Esther? That's just my suggestion.
Does everyone know what,
No,
okay, do you want to explain
I was
better?
the parent,
So,
so I don't know what you have.
Joe Kessler,
Who was just here
who
speaking?
was just here, he was one of the speakers. Was he retired like 6 years ago?
Yeah.
I think it's
I know
six.
his award.
I think-
What is the criteria of
Before the pandemic.
choosing
Oh,
So,
the recipient?
Mr. Kessler was a physical education teacher, but he was also someone that just kind of brought with him a great deal of character and this idea of sportsmanship and relationship building and service. So kind of all of those things boiled into one, to recognize someone who embodies that type of thing. Community building, all of that kind of wrapped into one individual type of an award. So past recipients, I was fortunate that I did receive that award for, I was the first one after Joe. He was the first recipient. I was the second recipient. Lewis has received that acknowledgement.
During the pandemic.
Yeah, during the pandemic, yes. So it just kind of embodies someone who's going to put themselves out there to support and service others. So, in a nutshell.
For you guys.
So.
Does that sound about right, Louis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to piggyback off of that, last year, we had Joe, who was one of our previous presidents, who was recognized for that award, because he's done a lot. You gotta wait. PM. Sorry. But we did have Esther as part of the conversation of someone who was here before, as one of the people that we were considering giving it to. So that's why Shirley has thrown out that idea. I don't know if anyone else has any ideas on people that have come to mind throughout this year.
I think I'm 2 months old, so my input is just about.
Catherine, Joe, anybody?
Someone from a school.
Yeah, it
It
could
could
be,
be anyone. We've had principals, Tracy
Anybody have
Shaw
thoughts?
received it.
And I recommend Mr. Carter from PS 79.
Oh, no.
wait, he's recommending his own school.
Wait. I'm gonna tell him you like
You
that. No,
This week I came in, so his picture on my desk.
This is true.
I have to,
Yes.
79.
I think,
Where was it? I went to go visit a school with my daughter, and she was asking if we were from 79, and she was like, anyway.
I do know that, like, for me, another person that's come to mind, if we did not choose Esther, who was actually here tonight, is Joanna from 242. She's always here. She's very, very active in the school, like always pushing
Thank
everything.
you.
I'm gonna tell Mr. Carter that.
So that was just my person that comes to mind other than Esther as well. So she's been amazing for all the years I've known her.
No, that was the young lady before escorting the boy who was speaking.
Yeah,
Yes, that.
her son, and her son was here with her tonight, but she's been at multiple meetings last year also. She used to be here almost every meeting.
She always comes with her kids, when her kids are presenting. So
Yeah.
242.
Yeah, whenever they present, she's
Right across,
here.
yeah, right across the street.
So that's what I want to take time to think about before the next meeting, so that we can hopefully make that decision. I did just pass you guys all a copy, moving along to budget, of the updated budget and what we've used after our last meeting last week. Joe, I have a task for you.
Yes.
Going forward, I'm gonna have a treasurer's report on here, and you could just give an update.
Do I say it again?
We're gonna add a treasurer's report, and I'm gonna ask you to give a brief update for us.
Great.
What am I updating?
For now, until Egypt settled in, Maribel will be able to tell you if we used anything, and if we use anything, you'll be able to let him know, and then you'll give an update on what's left, Yeah. so that you can just kind of give us an update. So,
Absent next time.
does anybody, please don't, I'll get to that, please don't be. I can't have anybody absent, I'll get to that in a second. Does anybody have any other things that they felt needed to be moved budget-wise? This is our last chance to do so. So I wanted to make sure we touched on that as well. Awesome.
The award ceremony, is there a budget? How much?
We have,
Either supplies or.
or meeting expenses that we could take it from. So I think we're safe there. We do have a supply order. I'm gonna send that to Maribel, the items that Louis had emailed all of us. I'm gonna send it over to Maribel so we can get that order in before Egypt starts, so that hopefully some of the stuff will start trickling in. So if nobody has anything else on budget, I will leave that. And then we're gonna move on to the event that the district is having, the Mindful event. Grace did send out an email to everybody a little while ago. I just forwarded it to you as well, sharing some thoughts and ideas around that. But we also would like to possibly either contribute somehow as a council. So I know we were talking about whether it be like snacks or something, if we got like swag of some sort. So I just wanted to see what everyone is thinking on that, so that we can get that order in, because that we do need to do like tomorrow if we want something.
I think snack is good, and also, because it's mindful event, it just popped in my head. How about stress ball? A lot of wellness event, they have a stress ball.
Hmm?
And kids like it. It's like a toy, but like.
CEC stress ball?
Yeah. It's a CEC.
The question is how much we should get.
Like fidget toys.
Yeah, like,
That's why I was like, is there a cap on it?
It's really,
That's why my cap question
it's really
really
hard
came
to
up.
tell. I mean, I think if this grows to a place where I think it has the potential, I mean, we had 1,000 people come to a book
The
giveaway
book
event,
event,
so.
Exactly.
Could I see something like that happening? I could. Does that mean that it will? Not necessarily, but we're gonna put out a registration link over the next 2 weeks, the latest, so that we have an idea at least 2 weeks beforehand how many people we're actually really thinking about. Even if you were to order things like stress balls, you can always give them away, even if you ordered
award
more than what you
ceremony,
had.
whoever comes.
You can always give them away to other folks
That
as,
could be our award.
yeah.
Is there any
Congratulations,
kind of,
reduce the stress.
Yoga mats is too expensive.
I think so.
Yeah.
But is there any
But those are cool,
specific
too.
snacks
I mean-
that people think would be good?
So just so you know, one of the things that we've connected with the Office of School Food. So they're going to be there with kind of healthy food options that are available for kids, meaning that parents would be able to sample them, kids would be able to sample them. So there'll be some type of food. We're going to ask the school to have their cafeteria open so that they can have access during that time. But I do think things like maybe water and, I don't
I
know,
was gonna say.
you know, like,
Not so healthy.
maybe like the goldfish crackers or something like that, just to have as a little pickup snack. Maybe nice.
Chips.
But,
Like fresh fruit.
yeah, and you know, I have to ask the Office of School Food what they're gonna be able to provide, because they might be able to have like a little fruit option. So if a
Yeah.
parent wants to pick up an apple or a pear or banana or something like that, that's there as a food option for kids. But I will ask them that, because if they're willing to do that as part of the healthy food option, I think that would be great.
Do you want to do maybe a disposable water bottle? I know the UFT is the other one, they gave away yoga mats. My kids are still using them in the basement. They are having a great time with that, just something else to throw out there. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I shouldn't be throwing more things out there, but.
I think the yoga mats would be cool. I just don't know how much money how many you can get.
Yeah, they had the UFT logo on them. They were just like a thin foam.
They go
I
from
heard
50
it.
to 20.
Is that how much they are? Yeah.
Yes. So 1,000 times
That's a
1,000.
lot. Priced us right out of that one.
It's like, oh.
But I do think those stress balls are probably
Yeah, it's
something you can
good.
get in bulk, maybe not for that, that's that expensive.
And kids like.
I think anything tied into the context of the day,
Wellness.
you know, whatever else. So right now, we have a 9:30 setup time in the morning, and we were thinking 11 to 1-ish. I think everything kind of runs its course. Some folks, you leave it 4 or 5 hours and it's too much. So we're trying to find that sweet spot, and we thought a couple of hours would be nice. We will have our own resident DJ, so one of our team members will bring his DJ equipment, have some music is also playing and available, but yeah, anything along those lines would be great. And Grace, I don't know if there is something that you would like to lead or have a group of parents that you would like to have lead things. If you like, because we can we'll have rooms available, but we'll also, I know you mentioned for yoga, those that are interested in that are capable of doing things. I know I couldn't lead a yoga session. It would be pretty embarrassing for myself, but
I could, yes.
yeah, so if you wanted to do something like that, we could, we can create space, in the school, which would be pretty cool.
So I'll connect with Maribel about possible some snack items and seeing what stress balls we could find on a daily vendor. And I think we'll go from there.
We gotta order fast.
I think
Yeah, I'm gonna talk with
if you
her.
create an allocation for it, whatever that is, you can always then, it could be resources that you use. So bottled water, if
Yeah,
you don't
you
use
can
them, you
always
can
reuse
keep it for later.
Yeah.
Stress balls, if you don't use them all, you can keep it late for later, so.
Because we're gonna put our logo on it.
I'm gonna get it for tomorrow. Okay, and then just for new business, anybody have any new business?
Just so I have an idea, I'm not sure how many of you actually will be able to commit to being there on the 15th.
I hope some of you can, because I can't.
Because that will be helpful. We'll certainly have a table set up for you guys just as CEC. I think it's an important leadership opportunity to promote the idea of the importance of the CEC and the things that you guys can do, number one. But number two, just, that presence, I think, goes a long way. I think, sometimes folks don't get involved because they're not aware of the context of what CEC really is all about and the things that you can get accomplished as a member of this particular group. So I'm not sure how many of you can commit to doing that, but we'd love to see as many of you there as possible. And certainly if you're able to do a yoga event, that's even better.
March 15th.
Yeah.
I unfortunately cannot, because I will be performing with my children that day.
Well, that's a really, really amazing excuse. You're approved, no problem.
I will be on stage that day.
Because Ramadan is.
Just the front one.
Oh, can I guess?
If you can, great, and if not,
But if anyone
it's
can,
fine.
yes, please be
What
there.
I look at this as a springboard into future action. So our district team met with the youth leadership team today, and they want to, as part of this, I thought it'd be a nice collaboration also. They want to do something that promotes respect and kindness as well. And they want us to bring in the Harlem Wizards to do a session for the district, like a district-wide session where we invite families and kids to really hear a positive message. And the whole idea would be just kind of bringing us into the space of leadership and connecting to community as a collective group around a positive theme, which is around kindness and respect and wellness and everything else that falls into that space. So I'd love to link us with the kids because they have a really powerful voice and can let us get started on something that could be sustainable.
And this goes back to what we were talking about a little bit last week about like future events around this topic that we want to start kind of going along with and making
I
happen.
would have loved to be there, but it is the month of fasting. There is no way I'm standing outside and doing all the hungry expressing what we do.
I get it.
I don't think I'm gonna put my kids through that.
I get it. Yeah, no, it's no problem. But anyone that is able to be there, would love to see you
Get it all
guys.
for you before then.
And certainly anyone that's willing to run a session, will connect with you. There's a vendor/partnership link that's in the presentation that I'll put in the presentation for anyone that wants to kind of run a group. That would be awesome.
We're gonna do something. We're gonna do something.
Grace is
Say
definitely,
something.
we'll have our tablecloth
But
there.
yeah,
and
even
then
if that's something
Grace
Grace is in your
definitely-
wheelhouse that others can just contribute and be part of, to be connected with you. It doesn't mean that someone has to do that. They can just be there with you to support.
Yeah, I am thinking to like share little practice to about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yoga, physical exercise, games, but to show people how to manage stress or different kind of condition or like practical tools.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%, yeah.
Health.
So the way this is going to kind of roll out, just so that everyone knows, is that we're going to meet inside of the bubble on the turf. We'll have the DJ booth kind of set up with a microphone so that I can kind of open the ceremony, so to speak. We may be fortunate, we're going to have folks from Mind up there. We may be fortunate to get some of their top members that run the program to join us, perhaps. We're hoping that can happen. If not, I will do a lead-in for that, and then there'll be stations set up around the field, on the tennis courts, and then in the school. So there'll be plenty of room. It's just a matter of managing how many people, right? Because there's going to be potentially a lot of people that join this. So, but anyway, that's what the intention is. And then we'll have a closing ceremony where everyone can meet back up at 1 o'clock or so to kind of close the event and, just continue to promote this idea of wellness moving forward.
Maribel, I'm gonna connect with you tomorrow about getting an order in for some stuff for that, because it's right around the corner.
And you're gonna also confirm with me the supplies?
Yes.
Like order.
So I'll touch base with you on that tomorrow. Okay, so moving on to new business. Anybody have anything?
Not anything, I just have a question. So we had a meeting with this CA last calendar meeting.
Yes.
So I just want to know how we could kind of follow up with their plan, because we gave certain schools, we make sure, so like.
The response on the schools that we submitted, I know last year when we submitted them, I didn't find out about which schools actually did or didn't get chosen until this year. So we won't know anything about the schools we submitted probably for a while. But I would say if it's the school that you're assigned to, I know we have to figure out assigning you guys schools. But if that's a school that you're assigned to as one of the ones we submitted, I would stay on top of it with them, to connect with them. Also probably push them towards like Reso A in the meantime, if they can get any grants,
And
just to try to help.
This is the time, just you guys are active in your schools, this is the time for our buildings to make those requests. You saw that $480,000 check that went to 214. Yes, it does take a little bit of time to make that money realized, but the more you're willing to make the request, the more likely we're going to receive those funds from our elected officials. They've been great at supporting us, but if they don't know what our schools are requesting, it's hard for them to allocate funds. So, which is why you saw one of the schools brought their entire student body of elected officials from the school to Borough President to ask for Reso A dollars. When our kids and when our community does that, it creates that additional momentum. This has already been shared with our building leaders too, so they know that they should be reaching out to our elected officials as well. But don't hesitate, even for yourselves, ask, did you guys reach out to the local elected officials for? And put it on the table, because there's no harm in asking. The only thing they can say is I don't have money in my allocation right now. That's the worst that can happen. The best that can happen is they say, I'm giving you $480,000 to fix all of these things.
Almost done. Stop.
Right?
Yeah, stop.
So last time, when we had an AA, she's the one who actually connected
So,
us with the school.
I have a
easily.
school list though, of everyone that's assigned, and I also have the contact list from when we had that first meeting at the beginning of the year. So I can kind of push that out for everybody. And then I'm gonna look at what schools Wendy had to see about reassigning them. And then if we need to move some schools around or take from somebody that might have a little bit more, to kind of even it out, we'll do that so we can hopefully at the next meeting, I'll give you a copy of that so you'll be able to get that
Do I
voted
get
on.
to keep my daughter's school?
You can't do your child's school.
But with
Well,
that
you
being
have to
said,
ask, so-
no, with that being said,
Now you know.
I will be connecting with Shirley between now and next month, because I will not be here for next month's meeting. As I said, the show is coming up that my children and I are performing in, and that is our final week before performance. So we have rehearsals every day of the week. So I unfortunately won't be here. I will prep everything, get everything situated, get an agenda out to everybody so we have everything prepared. I'll even touch base with Maribel, make sure you guys are situated with everything food-wise. Attendance list is already in Shirley's hand, but I need people to please be here so you guys still have quorum. So that's my little thing. Anybody else have anything else?
I'm sorry, I know it's late. I have one more
You're fine.
question. We submitted all those questions to the chancellor for each question that didn't get answered during the town hall. She was supposed to give us written responses back on them. Did they come in? Because did I just miss the email or?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Make a
gonna say, I
note
was like, you know? Okay, does anybody else have anything?
Yes, you send an email asking for a representative for authority wellness policy. I answered that I'm interested in.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
okay,
the
I will
Google
send that
form.
email, yeah, I'll fill out,
Yeah.
to get that in there. Is there anybody that wants to be secondary for that? That was a good choice.
I actually,
You did? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll have the two of you in there. I will make sure to get that in for you. You did it before.
oh, okay.
That we did previously.
I
Previously
did,
Shirley and I did it.
Yes, I did it.
So I'll get you guys into the form before the end of the week, because I know I need to do that before the end of the week. So thank you for reminding me on that.
I'm just letting you know.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion adjourned.
John? Anybody want? And Alvin second. 8:53.
Thank you.
If you have forms that are signed by me and need to be turned in, please hand them in to Maribel. Here's a stack that we can put them all together. Nice and simple.
Away.
If you
Yeah, like
need some
blank
extra
folds, right?
copies, let me know.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do everyone think about the idea of bringing the kids into each of these future sessions? What do we think about that? The kids' presentations.
I
I
really,
personally love them,
Yeah.
Five.
Oh, yeah, you did.
especially the one with the mental health. Penelope is her name. I
Oh,
enjoyed
my
hers the most, honestly.
I need one for.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Egypt.
Yes, no problem. Everyone have a good night and get home safe.
You too.
make some copies.
I'm a
So we think that some